I'm taking in a script for a generic safe medication from a doctor to a doctor. So yeah, and they wouldn't fill it.
Yeah, speaking of that, the vaccine mandates, all these like hot racy subjects that are coming in. You obviously have experience with ivermectin, being in the vet space. What when Joe Rogan got COVID recently, the media labeled it as Rogan taking horse dewormer. Do you think that is an accurate description of ivermectin? And like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, that to me was I was just taken back by that. Obviously ivermectin it's a medication that's been around for decades. The discoverer of it won a Nobel Prize for it recently. It's been studied in a variety of viruses, from Zika to RSV to some studies that were done in Vero or in a petri dish for coronaviruses. And it's a drug that's been administered to hundreds of millions of people over the last decades, and it's used for primarily anti-parasitic items, but ultimately it's a molecule. It doesn't know that it's just because a group of scientists pick to use it as a dewormer, it doesn't mean that it has other properties that are anti-inflammatory or antiviral. And there's a all-out smear campaign, and I find it insulting. I just as a want to do things that potentially can avoid suffering, death, hospitalization. Mm-hmm. So when you put it on a simple risk versus benefit scale, regardless of vaccine, because it's not a substitute for vaccination, but if you're going to pick taking it on day one of infection versus taking a Tylenol, you're going to see that there are much greater benefits to that, and there's very, very little downside. And now just on a personal note, I had a board certified internal medicine specialist prescribe it for me, and I went to have it filled, and the pharmacist said, "What's this for?" And I said, I have worms. And but I was joking, but I was like, I've never been asked by a pharmacist what I'm taking a medication for. And so I was just floored, especially when you look at the top 10 medications that are prescribed. It's like Prozac, opiates, you go down the list, and I'm taking in a script for a generic safe medication, and from a doctor to a doctor. So yeah, and they wouldn't fill it. So I've just seen it, and I've seen the Rolling Stone article where they said that people were being left, gunshot victims were being left because of ivermectin toxicities, and that turned out to be just a completely bogus story. But you can't take it back. I mean, it spread like just viral spread. Yeah. And so regardless of whether it was correct or not, you can't take it back.